Treyarch just dropped an absolute nuke with the Black Ops 7 Zombies Ashes of the Damned gameplay trailer and accompanying blog post that take over 2.5 hours to read through. Stay locked because we're going to show you exactly why the community was wrong about Black Ops 7 Zombies on Perkaholics Anonymous Podcast, episode 16.
Clutch Squad, welcome back to the Perkaholics Anonymous Podcast. This is historic episode number 16 because Treyarch today dropped the Black Ops 7 Zombies gameplay trailer along with a massive blog post. We're going to go all through it here right now on this show. We have a lot to talk about. Major gameplay mechanic changes, complete overhaul to the augment system, and much more. Believe it or not, Zombies is going to be playable in the beta as well. We're going to discuss that, what's coming up next week. And we're going to give our reactions, a full breakdown of everything that we saw today from the team over at Treyarch, from the team over at Call of Duty. Before we get into it, before we talk your ears off here, make sure you're hitting the like button, make sure you're subscribed down below, and you have that bell notification on so you don't miss any of this upcoming coverage for Black Ops 7 Zombies. With that being said, MZC, initial thoughts, how are you doing?
Dude, first of all, before we get into anything zombies related, I want to shout you guys out for 150,000 subscribers. We just hit it before the start of the episode. So absolutely amazing achievement, man. I couldn't be here without all you guys that are supporting me. You guys give me the platform to do what I love. So thank all of you for not only watching the podcast, but just supporting the channel in general. But unreal day for the zombies community, Jeff. I feel like this is the first time in months, years, even going back to last year, that we just have had like a completely positive day. There's a few negative things here or there. There's some, some small quarrels in different little corners about different little things, but like the overwhelming majority of people have been extremely positive about what we were shown today. Not only from the gameplay mechanical changes that we saw, the trailer, the hype, the POIs, the map, zombies being in the beta for the first time ever, which is something that we've been asking for years, and eventually just got to a point where it was like, it's never going to happen, so quit asking. But we're getting farm survival. Next week we'll be playing Black Ops 7 Zombies already. Like, it's absolutely insane, dude. That's an unprecedented day for the zombies community, and I couldn't be more happy to be a part of this.
I mean, this is just a crazy, like, I don't know if you've gotten a single release of information like this from Call of Duty, maybe ever, across any of the modes. I mean, this is a staggering amount of information. Yep. Ashes of the Damned, obviously, they released the gameplay trailer today. They show a lot of stuff around the environment, the narrative, the story, the wonder vehicle, the new wonder weapon, the new elite enemy type Zersa, the new Ravager enemy type. I mean, this stuff goes on and on and on and on and on, and I couldn't tell you how excited I am for this, because this is what we do. We probably could make this into 2-3 episodes, but we're going to try to crush, get it all in and hit all the major talking points for you guys. If you missed the MZC upload from earlier today, he highlighted from some of the stuff that they talked about on the creator call that he was a part of. A lot of cool stuff over there as well. But I mean, jump pads, new traps, everything here, MZC. I know you want to start with the gameplay trailer and you want to start with the blog post. So how about we kick it off with that?
Dude, yeah, right out of the gates. We all knew we were getting the trailer today. Everyone was very excited for this. Didn't know what it was going to be like. Didn't know what it was going to entail. When I first saw the initial tweet, I saw it was 2 minutes, and I was like, oh man, like, I don't know, something I right off the rip, I was like, I don't know, it's a little bit short, but I clicked into it, watched the whole thing, and like every bit of the 2 minutes and 6 seconds is action packed with new shots of gameplay, different things. We got Ted, we got the wonder vehicle, we got all the most of the POIs in here. They're showing off Diner that we hadn't seen before. You got all the new enemies, like you were saying, dude. It just looks so good. It's one of the better trailers that they've released. It seems like this is probably, I mean, Terminus was really, really good too, but I don't know, I'm a sucker for the AC/DC music. They did a great job with the different, dude, the colors. They had fireworks going off like around the Ascension POI, which just looked really, really good. It seems like fireworks, we'll talk about a little bit later, is completely reworked from BO3. New perk. Like, they highlighted everything they needed to highlight, and just it came out. It couldn't have been done better, in my opinion. Like, there's nothing I'd sit there and be like, oh, I wish they had done this, or I wish we had seen that, or they had talked about that. Like, it was perfect. It was perfect. It was the perfect trailer for today. And then, of course, it was followed by blog posts that take like 2-3 hours to get through if you're reading it word for word. Just super extensive amount of detail gone into today. But I mean, what were your reactions to the trailer when you first saw it?
I mean, I'm on board with you, but with the 2 minutes and 6 seconds, when you sent it to me, I was like, all right, like, here we go. I obviously didn't know that the accompanying blog post would be as extensive as it was, which kind of was a whole part of the context here. But the amount of stuff they showed in this gameplay reveal is astonishing. I don't know if I could get over it. And there was some revisited stuff in this 2 minutes, and they still showed so much. Like, they revisit the feed part of the last cutscene that we saw and stuff like that at the bottom of the of one of the Janus towers, and then all the way up to the last second MZC Zersa, and then bam, it'll be available in the beta. It's like wow, this is a crazy thing from start to finish, with just showing everything, showing all the POIs on the map, the wonder weapons, some of the other offerings they're going to have for us, literally not even at launch, but literally next week, like you said, bringing the old crew back. It felt nostalgic. Somehow they got to this point where, and this is what I haven't really seen a lot of people talk about today, but this trailer, to me, the whole thing, it felt like for the first time in a long time, believe it or not, this game and the run up and the anticipation of this game, it feels every bit of nostalgic as well as being new. It's not like cheap nostalgia. It's nostalgia that makes sense. It has the old crew, and it's like, hey, this is going to be a new experience. It feels totally different. The run up to this game feels totally different than anything we've ever seen. But I think a lot of people really, had some issues with Black Ops 6. If you wanted to have some issues, it felt like the nostalgia was just dropped into the game and it didn't really make sense. I'm not getting any of those vibes from what we've seen so far, whether it be last week, whether it be today. Everything is coming together. The culmination seems epic. The community is trending toward the right direction. They're giving us the platform to speak. They're giving us the beta next week, and they haven't missed. They haven't missed in the last 2 weeks, in my opinion.
No, they haven't. And I know we'll talk about this later in the episode too, that we've seen some, like, there have been some, like, oh, we've gotten too much, we don't want things to be spoiled. What they released today, outside of, like, the trailer and then a couple of the screenshots, is really, like, just core gameplay mechanics and things that they've changed from last year. Like, yes, it's a ton of it's a lot of information to digest, right? Like, there's so much going on, but, like, even a lot about the map is still pretty unknown. I'm sure there's going to be a ton of secrets, ton of Easter eggs, ton of things to discover once we're in the map, but it doesn't feel like Terminus, where you knew right out of the gates that, like, okay, that tentacle in the water is going to be the main boss fight, right? Like, we can all kind of guess, like, what's going to happen here. Like, you knew the Easter egg was going to end with them escaping the island somehow. I have no idea what the hell's going. Like, I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know. Like, for the first time in a long time, it's not predictable. Like, the entirety of last year, we knew, like, all right, Terminus, they're going to work their way somehow through this castle, acquire something, probably the Sentinel artifact at some point, and then it's going to be just getting to the mansion and then ending at Janus Towers. I mean, we know where the DLC maps are, but I don't know how we're going to get there this year, which is really, really just... It's awesome. It feels like BO3, BO4 again, where you just, like, you kind of know what's going on, but you don't really know. So overall, man, the trailer was fantastic. It's not cheap nostalgia. Everything is, I mean, yes, that we do have a reused ammo mod and a reused fill upgrade, but it seems like especially with the augment carry forward, we won't be getting very much drip feeding this year. So it's like everything that we've asked for, they've done. They've listened to our worries and everything, and it's been a perfect day. It's been a perfect day, in my opinion. They couldn't have done anything better than this.
And I think a lot of people have to understand, too, you have to keep the perspective in proportions, because to me, and however everything is set up heading into Black Ops 7 Zombies, this is going to be the largest offering of Call of Duty Zombies content in the history of the franchise, which is saying a lot. So you have to put that into perspective when, if the murmurings today, which may or may not be rightfully so, that they gave away a lot of information, okay, you have to understand this is the most chaotic and largest and most interesting zombies map potentially of all time. So showing a lot for a map like this looks a lot different than showing a lot for a map like Terminus or a map like Liberty Falls last year. You have to take that into account. A lot of stuff today, to me, I don't know, maybe a hot take, and it's not going to play out like this in the gameplay. It seems like they tried to reset the mode today. There's nothing. I'm commending them for that. They go through everything, like some of the stuff in this blog post, MZC, okay, power-ups, okay, the augments from last year. Did they really have to go through in, like, detailed order and, attention to detail, look at all this stuff, especially with, like, the perks that are coming back and a lot of stuff like that? No, they didn't have to, but we're turning a new page here. To me, I've been saying it for a long time here. It's do or die. Like, it's go time right now. Black Ops 7, let's knock it out of the park. Let's go on with our lives. Let's have the best calendar or gaming Call of Duty calendar year of zombies that we've ever seen. And we're going to start here with this blog post.
Yep. So jumping right into it, man. The first little bit of the blog post kind of gives you like the summary of what's going to happen with Ashes of the Damned. It'll be like the, crew members again. We've already talked about that last week, so we'll kind of skip over things here. It won't be the full detailed blog post. If you want to check it out for yourself, I'll link both blog posts that they dropped today in the description. You can go through, and I would really suggest reading this for yourself if you really want the full immersion, the full experience here. But we're going to be kind of jumping around a little bit just for the sake of not being here for 3.5 hours. I've also covered a lot of this information in the creator calls Jeff said at the beginning of the video. So there's also a video down there. So if we skip over some stuff you might find interesting, maybe look at that video or check out the blog post for yourself. But this blog post starts off with Ashes of the Damned. It goes over a couple of like the POIs. They haven't released all of them yet, but we do know for sure we'll be starting at Janus Towers Plaza. It's not just Janus Towers. This isn't Liberty Falls, Transit. It's this whole new experience that they've crafted around a few returning and familiar POIs, but some new ones too. Like Janus Towers is not just the same old Janus Towers. It's been sucked into the dark ether. One tower is completely destroyed. The other two apparently are still standing, but they're overgrown by tentacles, and the dark ether has totally consumed it. It's very, very impressive. And then from what we understand, there's going to be 2 POIs in between. Again, we talked a lot about this in the video that I released earlier yesterday, if you guys want to go take a look at that. But then we have the next 2 big POIs are Van Dorn Farm, which is an expansion of Farm from BO2. We've seen this one multiple times over. That's been heavily teased for the last month or two. That's also going to be the survival map where it's squared off. That'll be the playable beta map here in about a week and a half, which is, I'm super stoked. I was going to be playing the hell out of the beta for multiplayer anyways, but I mean, now that we get zombies, I don't even know how I'm going to find time to get over there multiplayer. I might just be consuming as much their farm as I possibly can. The next POI is Blackwater Lake. This is a cabin that's above a floating black lake, and then above the lake itself is a giant pyramid, which I'm assuming might be the central hub for the Easter egg, or probably where we end up fighting the boss or something. That's probably going to play very heavily into the Easter egg for this map. The middle map, POI, this is the exact dead heart of the map, is going to be called Ashwood. This looks to be an entirely new POI, but it kind of gives a buried, it looks like a burnt. It's if buried was pulled out from where it was underneath the ground and just lit on fire, basically. Again, it looks like to be its new own POI, but it's got that kind of buried vibe. Another awesome POI that they revealed today that we had no idea about was Exit 115. This is the diner from Black Ops 2. The colors look absolutely amazing. You can see this a few times in the trailer. Dude, it's so sick that they have these mini POIs within the map, so it's not just big POI, road and fog for 10 miles, and the next POI. They really have seemed to try to cover every single inch and corner of this map. And then another one that was revealed today as well was the Cosmodrome. This is an Ascension POI. It's basically kind of reminds me of the multiplayer version of Ascension from Black Ops 1. I can't remember what the map itself was called, but I mean, this is where Weaver lost his eye. Obviously, Ascension's a pretty big POI in the history of zombies, so this could be very interesting. Another big Easter egg hotspot with that rocket there. The last one they gave us was the Fog. This is the kind of in-between stages, I think, of the first few different POIs. You've got shots here of the Ether Forest that they talked about. You've got the cabins outside of Blackwater Lake. On the other side, you have the boat from Terminus, which is over there too, but it looks completely redesigned with some other things. So, Jeff, I just went over the POIs. What are your initial thoughts to the POIs? Because everyone knows what I think about this. I already talked about it, but what are your what's your vibe here after the first pretty much 3/4 of the map has now been revealed and how it looks?
Honestly, it looks pretty sick. Everything looks amazing. The vibe looks there. The dark ether looks like they nailed it. I'm gonna be honest, I don't even think we'll be able to comment on the gravity of how this map looks and plays until we actually have it in our hands. We'll get a little bit of a taste next week. I think more or less though, you have to, and believe it or not, guys, hey, with change and with positive movements in the right direction and them listening to the community, there's going to be some give and take here, because this is, I fear that people are really excited right now, and I'm glad for that, and I'm happy about that, and I know me and you are in that category, and this, it looks polished, it looks ready to go, it looks at those elite S tier levels. I fear people are going to be well, I've never done this in zombies, because think about it. So what other map, what round-based map really, if you really think about it, boil it down, you have all these POIs, It's this big. You're really supposed to avoid the fog from everything that we've heard, basically, is that they're going to try to push you toward POIs. And a vehicle is a part of pretty much how you're going to traverse the map and have a lot of success. So you're going to have to adapt your game, and you're going to have to think about this in a totally different manner. You got to throw Black Ops 6 and Cold War and how you played in those games out the window as far as I'm concerned. The loadouts might be the same. The perks are coming over, the augments. Yes, we'll get to all that. But this is a map we've never seen before. Make your own conclusions. Look at the blog post. Read everything in depth. Get ready for this story. Get ready for everything that we're about to see coming up here, not only next week, but into November. And then really think outside the box when it comes to playing this next offering of Call of Duty Zombies. The devs are taking it in that direction. Treyarch is taking it in that direction. I think me and MZC are going to talk about how that's going to be the direction of the franchise moving forward. This could be a one-off thing with Ashes of the Dam being a really huge map, and they go away from some of these mechanics later on in the year. We'll talk about that if that's the case. I really don't think it's going to be. The map looks sick. You want to be an old Tessie, the Wonder Vehicle. There's elite enemies that can rival the vehicle, and it's going to be you, and it's almost like you against the map. It's the zombies are on the map, but it's you against the map at some point as well. And obviously the elite enemies are going to make for a hard time, but I can't wait. I mean, these screenshots, everything here looks amazing. So once again, I can't wait. I feel like we'll be saying that a lot.
It would have been nice to have this podcast going last year at this time to see like how we talk about Terminus or Liberty Falls compared to how we would talk about Black Ops 7. Because like,
that's a good point.
I just, going back to like, all we have is like the videos that I did, or if we talked about on stream, or if we were playing to get like, there was no like comparison, at least from us. But dude, it just feels like a completely different vibe from last year. Like the whole COD Next debacle with Liberty Falls, no aura, all that shit that it was just bringing down the mode. It just seems like it's been washed away pretty much with everything that's released today. And like it's not gonna be, what really helps, and we'll talk about it here, is like the cursed game mode. It's more of your like survival-esque kind of gameplay, which kind of balances out some people's concerns with the modern mechanics. If you want to play cursed, you can, or whatever. But like, it just seems like even with some of the fine tuning that they've done, that we'll talk about later in the blog post, that they're listening, they're conscious. I think people can have like for people that I talked to today, they've been kind of down on the mode very recently. I'm not gonna name any names, but like they've told me like, hey, dude, I can really appreciate that they're listening to the community, or that they're trying, that they're trying to get it to that point. They're not just doing whatever they want to do, or basically like, well, we're gonna make the game that we want to make. Like they're really, really trying to kind of strike a balance between old and new while creating the vision that they want to create, while also respecting the hardcore fans and the older fans. And it's just like 10 out of 10 for today. Like they couldn't have done any of this any sort of better. Like, we talked about Tessie being a huge part of the map, and it being a downside. You're gonna have to fuel it back up, so there won't be any of this like, oh, it's just a Warzone vehicle where you run over a bunch of zombies, you kill. Like the elite enemy, the Zersa, and then the Ravagers can like tear down the vehicle. So I'm assuming like that will like chip into the fuel. I don't think it'll blow up and like you have to go get another one or something like that. My guess is you have to go get like a gas can, come back out to wherever it's at, and then like fill it up. It just seems like it's you against the map. It's you and Tessie against everything the map's throwing at you. You get into the fog. You want to have Tessie with you, because you're gonna like immediately, as soon as you start into the fog areas, it's gonna start getting hectic. The zombies will start sprinting. You'll get all these different Ravagers coming at you. Like it's just it seems like for as big as this map is going to be, they've really tried to balance it out the best that they can. And that's something as well that they hit on in the creator call, is like, hey, we'll talk about this too. I keep saying we'll talk about this because there's so much shit in the blog post, but like,
that's crazy.
Like they're like, okay, we've heard the complaints about super sprinters. We're gonna dial back on those, but not on this map, because they want you to the fog to be dangerous. They want the in between POIs to be very dangerous, and not just be these like places that you can run around and you lose the zombie 200 yards back and you gotta wait for it to catch up to you. Like they want it to be this like very hectic, hardcore experience. It's a lot harder than the maps that we had last year. But on the DLC maps, they've said, okay, we're gonna dial back on those, and you'll see more of like, not traditional Derice or anything, but like the Dreisendrax of the world, the Gorod Krovies of the world. There's a lot going on. There are these big maps, but there's not going to be as many super sprinters later on in the year as there is on this map. So with completely going through all of Ashes of the Damned here. Next up, we have the new wonder weapon, which was revealed today for the first time. It's called the Necro Fluid Gauntlet. They also mention here that we'll also be getting of course, the ray gun, the classic one. That's no brainer there. But we also get the ray gun Mark II at launch, which is really nice too. I know I'm not very high in the Mark II. Jeff, I know you're not very high in the Mark II. It's not as good as it used to be, but it's better to get it now to have in the box and to have, some sort of incentive if I'm using a wonder part and not just get the normal ray gun. If you can't get the mystery or you get the special weapon out of the box, like with Gorg effects and reckoning, so there is some sort of saving grace there. And also it eliminates them being season 3 reloaded. The big thing is the Mark II on all the, it seems like they've completely tried to get rid of all the drip feeding accusations here with this game. But Jeff, you want to talk about the wonder weapon a little bit? Just kind of give us the breakdown there with the last 2 paragraphs in the blog post and kind of what it does.
Yeah, so looking here at the blog post says, upon discovery, the Necrofluid Gauntlet is a black skull-fanged glove that glows with a billowy greenish hue. This ancient artifact seems to be deadly at both melee and long ranges. Its umbral surface veins choked by a vicious liquid that the gauntlet seems to control. In fact, the entire weapon seems alive and hungry. And then further down it says, command the gauntlet and the dark liquid can be reshaped into powerful spikes that shoot forth, skewering targets at range before being summoned back into the gauntlet, inflicting further damage. It's rumored that the Necrofluid Gauntlet has vampiric tendencies and can also pull in items and power-ups from a distance. Oh my, that's the first time I've read that. That sounds insane. That sounds like a melee projectile hybrid. I don't even know what to say. A new wonder weapon. We're getting a new wonder weapon. And you notice this, MZC, take everything and try to put it together and map it out in your head. So what's the secondary passive feature of this? Okay, it could pull in powers from a distance. They have to play to this size map. Everything seems like it means something and it's there for a reason. I will take really quickly before I throw it back over to you. I will take the rose tinted glasses off for just a couple of seconds here. We're all excited. There's new stuff on the horizon. The brand new car, the new car smell, all of this. They're giving us all this info. We're fully there. We're fully there. However, I will say now, we're recording this on September 24th. If I were to be the pessimist in the room, if I were to give my 5 seconds of pessimism, it's this right here, and then we're going to move along. I'll throw it back over to you. This map has to be really, really super balanced all around, or it's just not going to work. And I think that's something they've thought about, and I don't have any concerns about that, me personally, but there's too much stuff going on here in a good way, where if the wonder vehicle is overpowered, it's not going to play right. If Zersa is impossible to kill, it's not going to play right. If the wonder weapon is too good or it's not good enough, it's not going to play right. If the POIs and if the fog doesn't push you to the POIs as much as they thought that it would, it's not going to play right. Now that sounds like an indictment on the game. It's not. I think they've taken this all into consideration. Everything is linking up, and going through this blog post, you could see this decision led to this decision. This decision over here came down. You could see it. You could see the payoff down here in this decision. So I want to maybe take a little second to look at both sides here, but the wonder weapon sounds amazing. They need to, this was their time. The last week and today was their time to say, hey, if you haven't played Black Ops 6 Zombies, this is why you should consider playing Black Ops 7. They already know that the Black Ops 6 people, 90 plus, 95, 99% chance are going to buy Black Ops 7. Me, you, a lot of people in the community, content creators, things of that nature, people who enjoy this game. Okay, it's Black Ops 7. I don't have any problem with it. I like Black Ops 6. I'm going to buy Black Ops 7. All of these changes are to rope in the part of the community that said, I haven't played any of Black Ops 6 and I really am not looking forward to Black Ops 7. Maybe I'll play the beta. Maybe I'll pick it up on Game Pass. But they're looking to raise the enthusiasm level back up to a 9, a 10 out of 10 for this mode. And I think they've done a great job so far. The Wonder Weapon sounds amazing.
Yeah, and I think the whole I commend you for doing kind of just quick pessimistic outlook on it. Not that
just quick, because the rest of 90% of the episode's gonna be, it's gonna be this is great, this is great, this is great. 100%.
But it's not even like you were correct. It's gonna play bad or anything. You're saying that it's gonna be. You're just hey, it might be this way, or maybe it might take a couple weeks to get to fine tune. I'm sure it'll be fine, but I appreciate that, because a lot of people in the comments are usually, you guys are just sucking the game off, or you shill or whatever.
Paid actors,
stuff like that, right? So it's you do have to have the balance. Treyarch wants you to have that balance. If everyone was just oh, it's amazing, it's perfect, and you didn't have that that concern there, you wouldn't be getting like cursed mode that plays like a classic mode. You wouldn't have
they
all
wouldn't
these
be
different
giving us
balancing.
they wouldn't have gave us all this info, and they wouldn't have given us the mode in beta if they didn't think that could possibly be a blind spot for them.
Exactly.
You have to look at everything holistically. It's not like, because me and you talk about this too. It's like listening to there's listening to the community, and then there's, hey, you guys listen to the community. It's two different things there. So,
right.
And I personally, I think they're giving us plenty of time, plenty of feedback. We still have the whole month of October and 2 weeks into November to go here. So I commend them for everything I've seen so far.
Right. One quick thing too with the wonder weapon that I think I would have looked over if I was reading it, but it says here that not only does it have that ability to like pick up power-ups from longer range, but it says that it seems to where is it? Here it is. It's rumored that it has vampiric tendencies. To me, that sounds like it's like a vampiric extraction with the melee weapons, where like maybe if you get a kill with it, it like also like sucks the souls out of the zombies, or it like heals you, like how the Shadow Smith had the skulls and spawn or whatever, and it kind of like basically maybe restored his life essence or gave him extra power. I wonder if it's like, if you get a massive like train kill with the zombies, or you're low on health, it can also restore some health to you, or give you that.
There's
like,
a good chance. There's a good chance that's an Easter egg spoiler, and you're just so keen and dialed in on looking at stuff like that, because if you go back and look at the trailer, it's all gameplay for the 2 minutes, right? Except for the very end, but there is this one split screen. It's like for a split second that pops up, and it's the dark ether background, and it says reclaim your souls, and it's literally telling you that the wonder weapon has vampiric tendencies. So that having to do with the Easter egg, or that having to do with the theme of the game, makes so much sense.
It's also they got this shot on the blog post here where it's like the wonder weapon and he's holding it like the gauntlet of Siegfried from Gorod Krovi, which was the dragon. This like looks like it's got like a green skull, so it almost looks like the healing healing aura skull essentially. So
that's
it's going to be
That's true.
Very interesting. I wonder if they'll have different. I mean, they probably would have stated it, so I don't want to get like too hopium here. But I wonder if they'll have like different versions of this where there's like different tendencies and upgrades, and again, they're just trying not to spoil everything in the blog post. I don't want to go that far, because it's like I don't want to start setting expectations. People are like, oh, well, MZC said there'd be 4 different. I'm just thinking like when I first saw it, I was like, I wonder if there's going to be more to that, or if there's going to be different ones. But obviously we'll take it at face value. We won't let ourselves go down that train of thought yet. There wasn't anything in the gameplay that suggested that. That was just where my head went immediately. But overall, I mean, the wonder weapon looks super sick. Again, here we are where they heard the complaints about, we want new wonder weapons, we don't want reused slop. Now they're giving us a wonder weapon that's completely brand new with completely new abilities too, and it's just not even anything that's like remotely close to something that we've seen before. I mean, it kind of reminds you of the redeemed hands from Ancient Evil. I don't know if you really played that map enough to get like the wonder weapons, but they're like 4 elemental gauntlets that you would hold or whatever, and they all had special abilities. It's kind of like that, but it almost takes it a step further. It looks like it's got a couple extra abilities too. So yeah, dude, I mean, it's absolutely insane. The wonder weapon looks so good. And then of course we have, like, moving on in the blog post, there's a little bit of talk about the different types of enemies. So of course you have the base zombies and armored zombies. Later on, I'm sure they'll talk about the changes made to these guys, but they're just kind of detailing things here. So we got those. We talked about the Ravagers, which are, I think it's really cool. This is a huge ass like nerdy moment for me, but it's like, I was big into the comic book series back when it came out in between BO3 and 4, and there was a place called Zero Base, which was like on an alternate dimension where there was like an evil version of Dr. Maxis who was collecting relics and different things from different parts of the storyline, and he was like hoarding them at this Zero Base, right? And Russman had a flashback to when he was a CIA agent working for Broken Arrow, and these Ravagers are essentially, and like, I mean, Treyarch hasn't said this, but I mean, if you just line them up 1-to-1 and you look at them like side by side, you can almost say like this is at least where they took the inspiration for. They're essentially like evolved denizens. So it's super cool to see here on like a transit-esque remake or a transit vibing map that they don't just bring back denizens. They take it a step further, go deep into the comic book lore, pull out a character that we've never seen before from the comic books and be like, yeah, these are evolved denizens. They're going to attack the Tessie. They're going to, resemble what we saw in the comic book. So like people are saying like, okay, the narrative, like, have concerns about narrative. That gives me extra additional hope that like, okay, they're back on track this year, or maybe they really didn't want to have enough, story, or didn't want to make the Black Ops 6 story they had to because they were forced to. I don't really know what's going on there, but like, again, they're locked in. They're pulling from source material, from comic book stuff that happened 8-10 years ago now. Like it gives me a little bit more hope towards the overall story that they know what they're doing and they're able to pull a lot of tricks out of the bag there. And then we move on to the Zersa. We've talked about him. They actually talk, I don't know if it's in the blog post here anywhere, but they talked about this on like the dev talk that they released a little bit later in the day that a lot of people actually missed. So the Zersa is like this massive bear. You can see screenshots of it. It's like 2-3 times the size of your character. And these spores are actually like infected beehives. So when you break the spores and you shoot them, then the bees come after you. And it's like, dude, that is like, again, we've been asking for new enemies. They've said that they want to do a new enemy per map, just like Black Ops 1 and 2. It's a design that we haven't seen before. I mean, yeah, we do. There's kind of like an amalgam where it's this big tanky enemy with spores you have to break in order to do damage. But like now you're taking it a step further with fucking swarms of wasps coming at you. Like it just seems so good, dude. Like, and I know people go, oh, where's the catch? Where's the catch? I don't know. I'm just having fun with it. I know you're having fun with it. There, you do have to have like the, cautionary aspect for certain things, but I mean, it's fun to be a fan, dude. It's fun to be a fan for a day and just kind of nerd out about some of this stuff. So, I mean, they're giving us what we want here. And it seems like, again, I don't want to go down this whole rabbit hole and conspiracy theory of like, okay, maybe they punted some of the stuff, maybe they kind of really did have like launch nailed down and then said, we got to start working on next year because we don't want to mess up Pyramid. Like maybe that's the case, but that's just kind of what I'm seeing here.
And honestly, it's tough. It's a gameplay trailer versus what we actually see in game is tough. It's not a 1-to-1 comparison, but I mean, if you go and watch the zombies gameplay reveal trailer, if you get to the end, the 1 minute 50-second mark, and you see how the Zersa is portrayed on the screen, does that look like any elite enemy to you? Does that look like how they designed amalgams? Like it don't look like that to me. Right. And like I said, is it going to play like that exactly? They could go a bunch of different ways with this. I'm in total agreement with you. I think the Ravagers are cool. They look scary. They look like it looks like a horror game. Like, I'm in. I'm going to be optimistic about it. It looks scary. Like there's a zombie bear in a big wooded area in a big forest and you're trying to traverse and go around it. Like they could spawn its special round. Believe it or not, and this be towing the line, like I said, they could go either way with this. I'm sure it'll probably be a round thing and hey, it spawns at this round and then you kill it and then it comes back a couple of rounds. I'm sure that's what they're going for, but they could take a nuanced, almost George Romero position with this elite enemy type. It's on the map. You have to be conscious of it. It's a tank. If you put enough damage into it, imagine the difference in game design and coding from George Romero to this thing. Oh, okay. If you put enough health into it, it gets nervous. It runs away. It licks its wounds, and then it's still on the map. You didn't kill it, but then it comes back later, or there's so many different things they could do with this. I'm excited to see how it plays in game. And yeah, I mean, the enemy types, believe it or not, might be a top 3 thing that they showed today. Yep. And that might be a hot take, but I'm really there. They just look that good.
No, I mean, from the design, even in the whatever, like the talk that they released with the devs or whatever, they were showing off some of the audio for the Ravagers, and it's like completely custom. They're like, they want this to be scary. We want this to be like a horror-esque. There's bodies hanging from the ceiling, just like Mob of the Dead. These guys sound crazy. They sound scary. So they're really trying to like make it have more aura. They're trying to have more depth to this map. So they're trying, you know what I mean? And I can commend them for that. But then a couple of the quick things here, I talked about this in the video yesterday. We'll just quickly go over these. There are changes to enemies. Yep. Audio cues, like I was just saying, expect to hear a special round audio stinger when zombie strength increases. So like now that's smart because it's like, now you're actually going to physically hear when the zombies' health goes up or when they're going to be faster just by audio cues around the map. They talked about fewer super sprinters here. I talked about this a little bit earlier where basically there's not going to be very many super sprinters. They're going to spawn at a lower rate, but there will be more on this map compared to the DLC maps just because they want to push you away from the fog and the smaller POIs back towards the main map. Armored zombies, no longer super sprint and high rounds. They have, I think, more damage, but they're a little bit slower. It says here that the armor is more easily destroyed, but it's more durable against explosives. So if you're using like a Mustang, if they bring back some sort of Mustang and Sally, it won't be as good as the ones last year. Certain weapon attachment combinations are more effective against armored zombies. It's going to be super nice with the shareable codes now. So if you're looking for those weapon reviews, either myself or Donuts or whoever, like it's going to be really sick to just flash up on screen. Here's the code, type it in on your console, and my weapon build will be transferred directly to your console for taking down armored zombies. Like super innovative and nuanced approach there. Also sliding knockdowns here. It says sliding into normal zombies, knock it down. It doesn't inflict a lot of damage, kind of like the PhD slider there, but nothing really too crazy at all. Really quickly before I throw it back over to you, I'm gonna talk about jump pads. Something that I spotted from the like 2 very like hard to see screenshots that they were showing us in this creator call a couple of days ago. So not only do you like you're not forced to take Tessie around the map. Obviously they want you to do that. It's probably going to be very useful, as we'll talk about later too. That's like how you pack a punch on this map. But with the jump pads, it's really nice. It's like after you turn on the power at every location, you now have the option to basically go one way or another to another jump pad, so that you're not just forced to, hey, I got to get in the car, or my teammates left me. I'm in a custom game. Like, think about this stuff. If you're in a public match and some troll takes the car and drives halfway across the map, you're not just stranded there. It's basically just, hey, I'll hit the jump pad back to the last location, or I'll just keep jumping between locations. Like they thought about this. So awesome to see these come back. I know they're from your favorite map, Firebase Z. They're technically not Wonderspheres from Horizon Drag, but they are from.
It's an option though. It's variety.
Yeah, exactly. So awesome to see what they brought there. You want to talk about the saw blade trap here, kind of reminiscent from Mob of the Dead or Blood of the Dead. Just don't have to go over the whole thing, but just like what it looks like or how you're feeling about new traps around the map.
Yeah, honestly, I don't know. This is like maybe one of the more underwhelming things in this that I could see so far, because it looks like it's part of the map, but I don't know how this is going to play. Actually, I wonder if it'll have special uses against the Zersa or some of the other enemy types, maybe armored zombies around the maps. But I think this is a good reminder point to piggyback off what they did with the caster traps and Reckoning. It's that, hey, they're highlighting, another different trap. I think they want to have that same feel and that same approach to traps that they did at the end of Black Ops 6 into Black Ops 7. So I think we're going to have to see how it plays, and it's basically just, what we've known. There's traps in every zombies map, so it's part of the vibe, it's part of the mode, and there's a new innovation here. They could have thrown old reused traps onto this map very easily. I don't think people would complain, but they are going into the uniqueness that makes sense all the way down to the minuscule details, even the traps.
100%, dude. Again, yeah, it was kind of like a weird. When I saw that, I was like, okay, very interesting that they just put that in there. There was a screenshot of it yesterday that they released in like one of the split seconds of the trailer that people picked up on, and nobody had any idea what it was. But I mean, it's nice to see some bit of an explanation here. But now we're kind of moving away from Ashes of the Damned and into the different modes. Obviously, standard is the not classic, but it's the standard mode we've come to love over the last two renditions of the game that everybody has no problems with and totally loves. I mean, again, I don't really care. I'll probably be playing standard more than one of these other modes. We've got Directed. That'll be coming back for sure. They told me on the creator call, or told us on the creator call, that Directed is an absolute staple moving forward. Obviously, we know it increased the Easter egg completion rate by like 100% essentially. I mean, it's not like it was a jump from like 25 to 40%, but it was like 3 or 4% to 8%, which is pretty big, especially when they're trying to convince Activision to give them more money to develop harder Easter eggs and more things. So it's like, you could shit on Directed all you want. You can shit on those numbers and say, oh, poo-poo, they're just 8% or nobody plays it. Like, that's a huge jump in trying to convince the higher ups and the shareholders and people to just shell out more money to your mode. So it's like, I'm not a huge fan of Directed. I haven't even beaten all the Easter eggs this year in Directed at all. I didn't use it for the camo. I didn't use it for anything this year, but like I can appreciate what they're doing there. The numbers look good. If that's what's going to get us more money to do things like these maps, I'm fine with it for sure. We've got survival. We've talked about this before. Basically, just it seems like once a season. I don't want to say anything more than that. They talked about a lot of survival maps coming. They didn't give us a number on the creator call, but these are what we'll have in the beta, and we'll talk about here in just a second. But just your smaller little cutouts of different either POIs from Ashes of the Damned or other future maps coming in the DLC season, which will be pretty fun to play. Just you don't want to boot up and go for a 40-minute setup on Ashes of the Damned. Fine, you can boot up and everything's available to you on a smaller scale than even Liberty Falls. So I'm sure that this, at least at launch here, Farm is going to be like one of the most played maps ever, just from people that are coming in to level up weapons or camo grinders, everyone likes to say. But
absolutely,
again, Jeff, you have a problem with that? Like, people are like knocking it like, oh, they're catering to the camo grinders. Again, oh, the numbers are so much bigger in this new mode, right? Like, or the numbers are so much, it's a fake stat, right? Because, it's just these people coming over to level. Who gives a shit? Who cares? Who cares if it's some inflated number that's only that way because people come over here and grind their weapons for Warzone or whatever? Don't you want that? Don't you want other people to not only get into zombies, but then, again, just like I mentioned with Directed mode, it's giving Activision or Treyarch a platform to go to Activision and say, numbers are up 250% from Cold War. Numbers are up 300% from Cold War. We're doing things that are right. People are engaging with this mode. It doesn't matter how they engage with it, but like, hey, any excuse that they can go and put in front of the board and say, give us more money. Like, I don't know why we're poo-pooing that and why we're saying that's not a good thing. That's an amazing thing for the mode.
I totally agree with you. It's like, if you get in these echo chambers, it's understandable for you to have these thoughts. Like, I totally get it, but At the end of the day, I mean, you set up your own talking point at the beginning there. 3 to 8% of players complete the Easter eggs. What percentage of people you think get to around 100? What percentage of people you think speed run the Easter egg? What percentage of people get to round 999? Like, just because you're a diehard 150%er, 200%er in this mode, we appreciate you. We love you. We're those guys too. Don't get us wrong, but it's like, hey, you need to have a big tent. You need to have a wide umbrella to bring people in here. And I agree with you. I could already hear the complaints about this because, guys, look, this is going to be so formulaic, and the zombies community doesn't like formulaic stuff. I don't know for what reason. I think it's nice, predictable, so you know what to expect. I'm a fan of it, but you know what's going to happen here. The seasonal maps, or however they release them, speculation. This isn't insider info. This is just me talking at this point. However they want to release the maps all year are going to be on this larger scale, in my opinion, and then they're going to have survival maps come out in season, reloaded, or there's a season that doesn't have a big map. It's gonna come. How many survival maps can they do from Ash to the Dam, MZC? They probably could do 12. So that's where we're at.
You could do
that's what I'm saying. But you know how it goes. We will be 6 weeks into a season, and they could release a survival map every week. People will be like, I don't really know. We could just hop on Ash to the Damned if we wanted to play all this. Well, maybe people don't want to do that. Maybe if the Easter egg experience is going to be hardcore and this map is going to be difficult and it's going to take 2.5 hours to do this main quest. Hey man, I'm just trying to get dark matter, whatever it may be, or blah, 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 whatever the mastery camo is. I'm just going to hop into farm. I'm just going to hop into a rocket test site, POI. I'm just going to hop into, I'm not feeling farm tonight. I'm feeling the lake with the pyramid. It's good. I agree with you. It's good.
That's something too that I've been preaching all year. I even made dedicated videos on this, especially around the time that we got the Squid Games LTM. I'm sure we'll get like LTMs this year, and they'll be a part of them, especially with how much rumored content we're going to be getting throughout the year. But it's like, I feel like a lot of people have agreed with this too, is like, I would rather have a smaller survival map that's just a cutout area of a bigger map, rather than these useless go away after two. And I want to say useless because that's shitting on the devs that put their time and effort into creating those modes. But it's
what percentage of people play the LTMs?
Exactly. The LTMs are probably
they don't even release those numbers.
They don't release the LTM numbers. There's probably already a small amount of people that do play them, and then on top of that, they go away after 2 weeks. So it's not like they're there forever. Like, I would much rather have a survival map that's there forever. I can come back to in 5 years and be like, oh, this was such a fun time when I hopped on Van Dorn Farm with my buddies, or when I hopped on the diner survival back in whatever, and I look back on those. I'd rather have that media there accessible for me than rather being like, oh, I played Cranked for 6 hours that one day, but I can't go back and play Cranked. Like, I don't see what the problem is with any of this. And if you want to go with that camo grinding route again, like, it just, that grinds my gears, being like, I don't care. There's clearly they're crafting the map. This whole map is for hardcore players. If somebody comes on and camo grinds Van Dorn Farm, what the hell does that matter to you when all the main maps here are going to be this giant expansive fun things that is hard for cater for hardcore mode? Like, Jesus Christ, like, why are we shitting on them for trying to pick a nice stat there to present to the board?
And this is, that's the business side of it, obviously, and this is the point where we're venting to the audience. Sounds like we're kind of crashing out. We're not. It's just, hey, we're having a conversation with you guys. So if you're thinking this way, maybe we could, not convince you to think differently, but hey, we could present the side of the argument that you're not maybe thinking about. Or if you feel like that this community is in a state where they're, making negative claims, maybe, and you're a vocal person, you could say, hey, these guys said it like this. I agree with them. However you want to take this, but it's like, I don't want to hear anything about lack of content at the launch of this game. You're going to have Ashes of the Dam, the largest survival map ever. You're going to have farm survival. You're going to have Cursed once we figure out how to get into it, once we figure out how to play. We haven't even really got to Cursed yet. We're getting that up next. But clown me in the comments. You're going to have Dead Ops Arcade 4. So I don't want to hear about, find something to do. It's easy to find something to do. Dark Ops challenges, regular challenges, Intel collection, Cursed mode, the Relics, the camos, everything. So I mean,
you won't be
they're
100%
giving you
by
double of the
season one.
content that we saw at Black Ops 6. Believe it or not,
you won't be 100% in the first 3 weeks of the game. You will not have all the camo.
It's not going to be possible.
Done. Yeah, it won't even be possible. You won't have the camo grind. You won't have everything that you can do on top of. That's not even talking about the weapon leveling this year. There's like multiple weapon prestiges. They're going to take you forever to level up too, and you
there's
get
going to be weekly camos,
weekly challenges. Like I was saying with the weapon levels too. Like the more prestiges you hit on your weapons, the more exclusive camos you're going to get for those weapons. Like, dude, this is going to be, if you play it right, one of the like the most, if probably the most decorated games in terms of pure content that you'll be able to do. Now it'll be, I can see it being February and we're in a 3 or 4 week period where there might be nothing, which I don't think that's going to be the case this year, but I can just see it now. If you're like, oh, there's nothing to do. And it's like, dude, you have 4 different modes you could play, just base modes. Then you've got these LTMs that'll probably be coming. Then you got all these different grinds you can do. Like there's not going to be not anything to play. Like that's just, I ain't seeing it. But let's stop with the ranting here. I know it was kind of like a quick 5-10 minute segue on how we feel about survival maps and where people kind of go towards with the smaller maps. But let's get into Cursed. I'm glad that they have the blog post here. I actually think you should read this entire section because like when they explained Cursed to us on the creator call, it was very, very odd. Like I got the gist of it. Basically, starting pistol, classic point system from BO3. Some like, other mechanics that are returning from classic zombies, but then there's these relics that you can find which also like give you special powers but also disable things. So like just think about like the Terminus cursed coin where you pick it up and you're getting constant double points, and then if you get hit you lose points. So there's kind of a trade-off there. But if you just want to like, I think it'd be very beneficial to kind of just slowly go through, or even as fast as you want to read it, just these few paragraphs here about it, so that we as an audience can kind of get a grip on like what exactly this cursed mode is, because I don't have that many answers for you, and not many people are really completely understanding it right now.
All right, let's see what we could do here. Let's go through this. Cursed. Take on a new experience featuring some legacy mechanics with numerous side quests to unearth increasingly potent and cursed relics. Activate these relics to face harder challenges in exchange for new levels of power, replayability, and rewards. Tailor-made for the hardcore, crafted for those seeking a more demanding experience with new layers of challenges to discover and overcome for access to your unique rewards. This is one of Black Ops 7's biggest innovations, directly inspired by feedback from the zombies community. You can't even enter Curse until you've fulfilled certain criteria. Once you've figured out how to access the mode itself, you'll start your Curse match with some familiar friends. Only a trusty pistol in your hand with no loadout, weapons available, no minimap, and a classic point system inspired by Black Ops 3. From there, your focus is on finding archaic artifacts of great power hidden away across dark ether, time, and space. These are known as relics, each one themed around a totem from Black Ops Zombies history. Every relic has a unique condition to discover it, and the requirements needed can be unforgiving. These cursed relics aren't simply here to display in a trophy cabinet. They provide a debuff modifier, making your subsequent matches even more challenging. Each relic offers a unique challenge to overcome, and once unlocked and applied to a match, several of these modifiers can enable further restrictions that longtime fans will find familiar. A limit of 4 Perkaholic's or the removal of ammo caches are just 2 examples. With relics becoming available in varying degrees of curse power, your future curse matches, available as private matches, with the host collection of relics available to pick from, are set to become even more hectic as you hunt down more dangerous artifacts. Each Black Ops 7 Zombies map will have more relics to discover throughout the post-launch seasons. Why curse yourself by choosing relics to increase the challenge? Because doing so is the key to unlocking more powerful relics as well as granting you classified benefits and rewards unique to the mode. Good luck, you will need it.
I mean,
okay. Well, it's like a progressionary. It's like it's not like the gauntlets. Like it's. I mean, I get what they're going with here. I do. I totally understand. But it's like, this is, first of all, I think the save and quit file. I think your save file was literally. I think they invented that for this. My initial response, because you're gonna want. But my thing is here. There's got to be crazy stuff buried in this mode. For you to be going into a mode where you're capped and playing like this, yes, it's quenching the thirst of the classic players. I totally understand that. To me, though, that still feels like a backseat mechanism in this mode. This is crazy. This is insane. Everything I just read right there, that's crazy.
It's almost like and again, I didn't fully understand the augment system until I got it in my hands and I was playing with it last year. It's one of those things where, like, they're trying not to give too much away about this mode. But to me, it sounds like you're gonna like go and find almost like intel items around the map, like Al Arlington's hat from Mob of the Dead, or I don't know, like a Juggernog bottle or something that you pick up, and then once it's in your like intel collections and you complete the challenge associated with it, then basically like before you boot up a match, you can pick like, hey, we're going to bring in the Juggernog bottle, which limits us to 4 perks and no ammo caches, but we're also going to bring in Al's hat, which gives us, you know, increased point, like extra points, basically, you know, something like that. So it sounds like it's almost like custom games, but in order to unlock the different settings, they're all tied to these different relics and things that are found inside the map. So it's just like, dude, this sounds like it's going to be a crazy mode in of itself. And they did tease today that this won't be available at launch. It will be in the game, but there's going to be stuff that you have to do before you can even unlock the mode. My guess, I think Kevin said you have to beat the main Easter egg. I've seen some pushback there, and people were like, this should just be in from the second that it comes out. I actually totally disagree, because I feel like this mode, they've even said have other Easter eggs that aren't in the normal maps or modes. So it's like, I would rather have everybody on the same pace and not try to split the content too much like Black Ops 4, where like, oh, half the player base is playing Curse, while the other half is playing the regular standard mode. And then you've got like another 30% of people that are playing Survival. Like, it just seems like, I think that's the best way to go about it, is basically like, hey, if you want Cursed and you're a hardcore player, go beat the Easter. You know, you wanted better rewards for beating Easter eggs. Here you go. You got to beat the Easter egg to get a whole different game mode. Like, again, I guess that could piss some people off, but like, I just think that that's the right move from them. Beggars can't be choosers to me. Like, and I'm not trying to, you know, like, I get it. Like, I totally understand what you're saying. I get where you want to boot up with this right away and get your hands on it if you're a fan of it. But it's like, let's cool it. I don't know. In my opinion, I don't think it's really that big of a deal personally, but
no, it's not. It's not, because here's the thing: in the instant gratification, you know, realm that we live in, like modern instant gratification, I totally get it. I'm there too. I have, you know, it would be great to load up and boot in, and this is there. But I'll tell you, from a just re-projecting my thoughts from a developmental standpoint, why would you want this mode to be available at launch, knowing that you probably want to be pretty good at Ashes of the Damned before you play this?
Right.
If you load into this first and it's really difficult because you're learning a new map, you're learning a new wonder weapon, you're learning new systems, and you're tinkering with new augments, you're learning new enemy types, you're learning a new boss fight, or whatever it may be, you're learning a new Easter egg, why would you want to load into a mode that's harder than that to start? And then so many people, oh, this is terrible, this is so hard, and they get frustrated, and it's DOA. So they have to have it. They actually are doing that to save some of the player base frustration. People aren't going to look at it like that, but that's my perspective. Let me tell you this too before we move on, before I throw it back. This might not make a lot of sense, but okay, so how did the zombies mode get introduced originally? How did you load into Noct?
After campaign, you had to beat the campaign.
Okay,
right?
Okay, so that's a little soft throwback in my opinion. Number 2, and this is getting totally crazy. I might be totally wrong here, but people who know about this will know. You ever download like a custom Minecraft world with like parkour, and you have to beat the level, and then it takes you to another level, and then they'll give you a potion of swiftness, or they'll give you something that makes it harder? That's what it reminds me of. Like, okay, you have Relic A, you have to complete something. It's going to give you a buff, and it's going to give you a drawback. And then once Relic A is done, it's going into your whatever inventory, and it's, all right, you might keep Relic A. Now you have Relic A and Relic B. Now you have to do something else. That's how I'm kind of looking at it, and it's going to maybe reset the map for you. It's going to maybe reset the experience based on you having these different relics and doing different things, different objectives. To me, this is like, and it's not, they haven't said anything like this, but, you know, I think this is where it's like a classic mode, but it's going to have some elements of Outbreak. Don't get me wrong. Don't quote me out of context, but like, what it's kind of reminds me of like, hey, you have to go to this part of the map. You're going to have something that's detracting you from, you know, lowering your skill set, lowering your ability. And then that's going to reset you to where you originally started. Then you have to find a different relic, do something else.
I don't know. Okay. All right. So this next part of the blog post is new and returning features. We're going to go through this pretty quickly because there is a ton of shit here, and we're already like 50 minutes in, and I'm not like we don't have to rush the episode. Obviously, if there's something we want to stop and talk about, we'll stop and talk about it. But like a lot of this is just basic stuff. Before we get out of this, okay, there is, of course, we didn't talk about survival. This is what's coming in the beta. The Van Dorn farm, which is like the farm reimagining remake of the OG farm from BO2, that's what'll be available in the beta next week. So if you pre-ordered, I think the first half of the week is closed beta and then open beta. So people are like, oh, I'm not pre-ordering. Oh, you almost got me to pre-order. Nice try. Well, it's gonna be free. So suck it up. Get on there and play it if you really want to. If you want to play it, I don't want to hear any crying about, oh, I'm not gonna pre-order because it's gonna be free. All right, it's like this is zombies for the first time ever. Go try it out. You don't like it? Go play another game. All right, it's gonna be free in the beta. Go ahead. All right, moving on. All these mechanics that are coming out here, it kind of goes over like the essence and salvage, all the different things you can load in with. Really quickly, some BO7 loadout confirmations and changes. We have build codes, talked about that earlier with the weapons, where I'll be able to put up on screen like a 12-digit code. You input it on your console and it'll come up with my weapon. There's 30 weapons and level unlocks. There's also weapon prestige, which is going to be really sick. So we'll be getting unique prestige attachments as well as weapon camos with each prestige that you have, or like multiple prestiges. Support weapons, obviously we know about the all new disciple injection, which I think is in here a little bit later, and I'll put up the pictures now and then later on as well. Super sick. They're doing another not just mangler injection again, it'll be actually getting a disciple injection. Then we have some melee weapon adjustments. We're not going to talk too much about those. I have that in the video from yesterday. If you really want to go into detail, again, check out the blog post or the video from yesterday. We have Essence. We all know what Essence is. We all know what that does. It'll obviously work differently in the classic mode or in Cursed compared to regular. Salvage, it's actually a little bit different this year. We'll touch on this just shortly here. Basically, it's needed to upgrade your weapon, needed to hit ammo mods, some other things around the map. This year, they're actually increasing the cost of upgrading your weapon. I don't see it in the blog post here, but I think off the top of my head, I can remember. I think it's actually 1,000 to hit green rarity. I think 1,500 to hit blue, and then it's like 20,000 or 2,000 to hit purple rarity, or maybe it's 25,000 or 2,500 to hit purple rarity, and then 5,000 for the normal salvage. So it's only like an extra like additional 500 salvage for the first 2 tiers, or like, it'll add up, right? But it's not like some significant thing. So originally I was worried. I was like, man, hidden power is going to be so broken. You're probably still, you could probably run dead drop to offset that if you don't want to burn a hidden power, if you kind of want that at like the normal earn rate, I guess, or what would seem like the normal earn rate. But it's basically stopping you from having your legendary rarity weapon probably by round, I don't know, like 25, maybe now it'll be like 30, and the initial setup might be a little bit harder. Although what I'm really hoping is that they bring back those free scaling ether tool side Easter eggs in the map. I think that's fantastic. It's an awesome way to be like, hey, if you don't want to go grab the ether tool, obviously you can play Curse, but if you don't want to grab the ether tool and upgrade your weapon too fast and you want to spin the mystery box or wall weapons, you can do that, or you can just, do the little simple side Easter egg for a free scaling ether tool. I don't think they should get rid of those at all. I thought that was the best part about BO6, in my opinion, were those little side Easter eggs. Also, nerfs to gun attachments. The suppressors don't drop as much salvage anymore. They also say here Vulture Raid can influence the amount of salvage dropped. I think that's actually, I don't think that was a thing in the last game. I think it didn't actually increase salvage unless you were getting headshots. I think the base perk might be getting updated here. All that's good. It just kind of increases the setup time. Gobblegums can now be recycled to receive instant additional essence. So like, let's say you have a Gobblegum in your pack that you don't want to use, you have about 250 arsenal accelerators. You can like crush it and get X amount of essence. I'm assuming like the higher, it says here the amount of rarity is determined by the Gobblegum rarity. Super cool. Obviously, if we're not getting the cookbook at launch or at all, it's a nice way to kind of at least like, hey, I'm getting rid of some of these old unused Gobblegums. I can just, crush these up and get some points out of it. We talked about the silencers there. This is, I didn't even know this until reading this right now. This is a fantastic change in my opinion. It says amassing a missed salvage. If you find salvage hard to come by, expect some help in this regard. Every 10 rounds, you're awarded around 50% of any salvage you previously missed picking up, which subsequently disappears. So that's super sick on a map like this, where like, let's say you're in Tessie and your teammates are driving away and you're using the Wonderwolf turret, or you're on the back and you're just shooting your normal weapon at zombies and a bunch of salvage is dropping in between the POIs. Every 10 rounds, you're going to get 50% of what you didn't go pick up. I think that's fantastic. I think it's an awesome way to do that, because I can see where it would get really hard if you're like, the round is changing while you're in between the POIs, or you're missing out on all this extra salvage to upgrade your weapon, and next thing you know, you're like almost forced to hit the mystery box. You're forced to give up your regular rarity weapon. I think that's a W change that they just made, and something I didn't see earlier. Power-ups. This just goes into all the power-ups that are coming. I think the only thing I want to talk about here is that random perks can now drop very sparsely. Yep. It's almost like the spawn room challenge LTM that we had earlier this year, where like every, I don't want to say like we give it a round or whatever, but like randomly you could potentially get a free perk to just drop from the zombies. Super amazing change. I think in the last episode, or at some point, I think we talked about this where you were like, okay, maybe Zersa might have an increased chance to give you a perk. Super cool. I like that idea too. I think that's something they should totally consider changing. Max ammo fills up your equipment. Fire sale temporarily reduce the cost of traps and wall buys. That's really nice to kind of incentivize wall buy usage. Yeah, we talked about the random.
Wonder if that'll affect armor too.
I think they would have specified. What I wish they would do too is, this is gonna be another little. I'm not gonna go too deep into this tangent, but like wall-to-wall clearance is a Gobblegum that's essentially probably gonna be a little more useful here. But if that's stretched to armor, it would be a lot more useful. So something they should look at there. Talk about those Gobblegums a little bit later on here. Any Gobblegums that summon power-ups like Killjoy on the house, Hidden Power, now automatically activate power-ups they summon, adjusting the tactics of when to deploy them and removing the need to physically run into them. Exactly. I think that's super smart because, they had the bug last year where suddenly they were spawning across the map. I think that's actually a really good idea. And maybe they couldn't fix that, or they couldn't figure out how to fix it in time. And they were just like, okay, we're just going to make it instant as soon as that pops up there. Obviously, we have some Black Ops 7 enhancements here. We're getting into these now. We have 12 types of perks coming, 11 returning. The new one is Wisp T. We'll talk about that a little bit later on. We have 6 ammo mods. Some are going to be returning throughout the seasons. I don't think they talk about them right here, but I saw a tweet earlier talking about how a few, like Mr. Peaks isn't going to be in with the launch, but with season 1, they're going to do like a big dump of a couple extra ammo mods and field upgrades from BO6, which I think is a pretty nice way to not have too much content at launch there, kind of space it out, but don't drip feed us that throughout the seasons. Like one time dump in season 1 is fine, but don't be doing that in season 3 and 4. The new ammo mod coming, again, we'll touch on these a little bit later, is Fireworks returning from BO3, but it looks like it's completely reworked. Then we have Toxic Growth from Cold War coming back, which was a really highly requested one that's not as groundbreaking as something like we'll talk about we talked about Ring of Fire a couple of times previously, where people were like, oh man, we really want that. Here's where they say here, you may have noticed that the BO6 ammo mods Lightmen and Shatterblast and Tesla Storm, Frostblast, and Mr. Peaks aren't listed. Expect them to appear with two new augments, one major, one minor, in season 1. So again, not crazy bogged down at launch, but at least we're getting all the perks. So that's good. We're going to skip over the augments here just because there's a whole other blog post detailing the augments where they give us more about this. But just to touch on this right now, every single field upgrade and Perkaholics coming this year will have an increased 1 major, 1 minor augment added to them. And then if you have all 8 completely researched and you've completed all of them, then you can equip 1 major and 2 minor, which is... It's not really broken, but just seeing as how hard this game is probably going to be compared to Black Ops 6, I think that's a fair way to balance that. That was actually something that a lot of people had requested for the Super Easter egg, so it's kind of cool to see them add that in here. Jeff, do you want to talk about Wisp T a little bit? Obviously, we can go through the major and minor augments now just because this is a completely new perk here.
All right, let's hit these talking points on Wisp T. This perk specializes in adding a protective, ethereal creature that remains near the player, appearing only after the player inflicts a large amount of damage to the enemy. Use of field upgrades, equipment, and other high damage items quickens the summoning. Once summoned, the Wisp begins to slay nearby zombies for around 30 seconds. 2 minutes later, it can be summoned again. The Wisp is summoned after defeating a number of zombies. The number is important rather than the speed of slaying, though obviously the Wisp will appear more quickly if the enemies are killed with haste. The Wisp targets all zombie types indiscriminately. The Wisp also realizes the importance of turning around and will refrain from killing the last zombie remaining. So it's a support perk. It's a support. I don't know if you need everyone running this. You might only, like, if you're in a quad stack, you might only need 1 or 2 people running this.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? If you had to do trade-offs and pros and cons, but bringing a new perk at launch, I'm in for it.
It's like a Blood Wolf. They didn't explain it very well on the creator call. I think the people that went and got to play the game early already had tested this out before, so it's almost like, okay, like they had an idea, so they probably didn't touch on it very much in the creator call, so like I didn't really know what they were talking about, but it seems like you remember Blood Wolf Bite from Black Ops 4? It was like the perk that spawned in the wolf that would run around Luna and it would go and tear up all the zombies. Like, it seems like it's basically just like an advanced version of that perk, which I think is pretty cool. It is kind of got that old school feel, but I mean, if you hear with the major and minor augments, you can actually change, I think, what different, or maybe it's random, but like different things will spawn in at different times. So for the major augments, we have Mask of Wrath. The demon does more damage Mask of Salvation. The Fox can revive you while it's active. This can be done up to 3 times per match, so nice way to earn maybe like some extra quick revives if you're in solo. Mask of Distraction. The monkey attracts enemies and does damage in an area. Super sick. Mask of Benevolence. The maiden does not attack but will periodically heal you. So kind of like offensive and defensive abilities there. With the minor augments, we have Extension. We know about that. Increase the Wisp's lifetime. Haste, decrease the cooldown before a Wisp can be summoned. Zombie Sitter. The Wisp will attract and avoid damaging the last zombie in the round until the round time dies out. Pretty fun there. If it's like just kind of running it around while you're doing Easter egg steps, that's actually really sick for all of us hunters. And then we have Fetcher. The Wisp will pick up items and power-ups for you. So again, with 2 minor augments here, you can really either build this for, okay, we'll have the Sitter and then we'll have the increase of the Wisp lifetime. So you can essentially have it run the zombie for you longer at the end, or you can be like, hey, haste is going to be, we're going to have this, spawn in more often, and I want this picking up as many power-ups as it can. With Wonderfizz here, they've completely overhauled how Wonderfizz works. I guess it'll explain a little bit more in depth here, but it says this is the base purchase price of the perks is based on previously purchased perks, and increases to the perk price now don't include the ones you may have obtained through using free Easter eggs, whether it's power-ups, Gobblegums, or the free side eggs. So that's really nice. That's something that I think that they should maybe look into doing, like a quality of life update for BO6. I don't think it'll happen, but it would be nice to see something like that come into the game. And then it says here, the Wonderfizz no longer spawns at 25. Its machine is dependent on you and your teammates. It can now arrives after a certain number of perks have been bought, including repurchases by all players. So the way this was explained to us in the creator call was really confusing, but it seems like if you're in solo, you only need to have 4 perks before Wonderfizz spawns. If you're in co-op, there needs to be a total of 5 perks, but each player at least has to have 1. So like one player could have 4 perks and another one could have 1 perk, and then that would spawn in Wonderfizz, and then vice versa, scaling all the way up to 4 players in the game. Here we have ammo mods. This is kind of a general brief overview of what we're getting with ammo mods. We're going to talk about Fireworks here. I want to cover this one because Fireworks was my main back in Black Ops 3, aside from Deadwire. Yep. But like Fireworks was super sick back in the day. The reason why a lot of people strayed away from this was because it didn't actually give you kills and it wouldn't give you XP. It was just like a massive damage one. So back in the day, it would explode and create like a pistol or whatever weapon you were using. It would create a carbon copy and it would spin around and kill all the zombies, or depending upon how high damage your weapon was. But here, last seen in Black Ops 3 zombies, this ammo mod is as brightly colored as it is deadly, filling the air above and illuminating the nearby combat zone in a fiery light show. It seems like it's completely different in this game. I'll show some clips of the trailer where it's like they're all over the place rather than it just being like a spinning weapon. This kind of reminds me of like Fireworks Shatter Blast, just based on what we've seen in the trailer. The initial explosive light shows occur, damaging zombies caught in the vicinity. Stars are launched into the sky before exploding, so that's kind of just a nice little fun little light show that you got going on there on top of it being explosive. The subsequent explosions launches a set of individual flares from the stars that fly out and home and additional random threats. So again, this is like, it really is basically like Shatter Blast, like almost like a way better version of that. And the chance of fireworks activating depends on the enemy type, and once the light show is over, expect a small cooldown window before it's available again. So that's pretty obvious. But the minor and the major augments here, starting with the major augments. We have Big Game. Obviously, this works on elite enemies. Starburst. Fireworks explodes immediately, sending flares throughout enemies in all directions. Weeping Willow. Instead of targeting enemies, the flares will land on the ground and explode for a while. So that's pretty cool. It's almost kind of like a Gorgafx charge there. And then Fire Wheel. Create 2 fire wheels that spin around, damaging enemies. So you can almost change how Fireworks works here based on the augments in terms of like what it actually displays to you. In the minor augments, we have launches more flares. Firework flares deal more damage to special elite enemies, increase the area of effect, and fireworks cooldown is reduced. So again, the 2 minor augments this year is going to be really, really, really important for a lot of these ammo mods and even perks moving forward. We've got Toxic Growth here. Jeff, if you want to cover Toxic Growth, I think for the most part, after that, we can be done with this blog post aside from the Gobblegums, and then
we got to talk about the new
things.
gums.
Of course, we got to talk about the gums, and then there are
new
a few
gums
things
are sick.
that are smaller towards the end here, but we're going to probably wrap up this blog post rather quickly. I mean, there's still so much information. I would highly recommend, again, you guys go check this out yourself, but just to not have this be a 2.5, 3 hour episode. We could go on. This could be literally a 4 hour episode if we really just sat here and broke down everything. But for the sake of your guys' time, I'm sure you guys have probably seen other videos on this already. We're going to just kind of give our initial thoughts on some of these things without really breaking down too much.
Yep, Toxic Growth back. Obviously, if you've played previous Call of Duty Zombies games, you'll be familiar with this, but supporting a more defensive playstyle, extremely useful if you're guarding a narrower entry point from an advancing horde. Toxic Growth allows you to deploy a thicket of viciously sharp thorns that have the additional benefit of being poisonous, lets you hold down and block pathways, adds powerful improvement to your capabilities that inflict toxic damage. The bush of vines grows rapidly on the ground, specific width, height, and depth to learn the dimensions of to aid in tactical placement. Enemies that move through the growth are slowed as they are poisoned, torn apart, as it weakens before finally disintegrating after time or after inflicting a set amount of damage. And it doesn't harm you or your teammates. No more than 3 toxic growths can be active at once. Major augments here. We have Urticant. Toxic Growth takes up a wider area, and enemies that enter the growth continue to be slowed after leaving it. Core Deception. The first normal or special enemy to walk into the growth is entangled and charmed, attacking other enemies that enter it. Okay, like a kind of a brain rot hybrid there almost. Yep. Pollination. Enemies killed by the growth explode, dealing toxic damage to nearby and slowing them. Zukuri. The first normal or special enemy to walk into the growth becomes a toxic growth itself. Okay. Minor augments, ankle shredder, enemies move through the growth or even slower. Green thumb significantly increases the toxic growth health. Extra charge increases max charge by 1. Plant food, killing enemies with toxic growth has a chance to drop healing fruit. All good stuff there. Some classics returning back in Black Ops 7, fireworks, and toxic growth MZC. Let's these gobblegums are lit. I love how they look. Everything. Power vacuum looks weird as not as a blue. I will say that. Obviously they have to balance it because, you know, in BO3 it was a blue, but my favorite gobblegum is back. Power vacuum. Yep. I can't wait.
Dude, it's again, here we go with the whole, they kind of limited what we were going to get this year. It's just the taste, but we get the whole load here in BO7 throughout the DLC season. We've got 6 new Gobblegums coming. There's one whimsical they've redacted, so we won't know about that until launch. But the new 6 that'll be in at launch are Aftertaste, Equipment, Power Vacuum, Jeff's favorite, Round Off, Armor Getting, and Gift Card. And it seems like what's crazy is like Power Vacuum. Okay, we'll go on the list here. Let's start with Aftertaste. Keep all your perks after being revived. That is a blue. So you're gonna have a shit ton of these. Like this is gonna just be like
we know Aftertaste.
Yeah, Aftertaste. It's from BO3, but like dude, it's a blue. That's gonna be a very, very common gobblegum that you get, and that's a pretty nice one to keep all your perks after going down, especially if you down in solo and use a self revive, or even in co-op. Like that's a nice one to have at a blue rarity. Thank you. We got some good blues now. We got a great blue one here that'll actually be very, very, very useful. There are some good blue ones. Don't get me wrong. Like, you know, Power Keg, and especially as the years gone on, some have become a little bit more tactical diffusion is another good one, right? But like, dude, this is an OP blue one, and we're going to be seeing a lot of these when you pop up and play this year. Our next
I don't want them to get any ideas about fixing stuff, but think about it. Tactical diffusion, free points, the one that spawns the free points, profit sharing, and a gift card.
Unfortunately, you can't use gift card combined with other bonuses here. So unfortunately, you can't just find some way to. Yeah, that would have been so OP with profit sharing and everything else. I know. It's gift
tough, card is
man.
Low key smarter than shopping free though. It's low key smarter.
I agree. I mean, it's a free double pack-a-punch at least, or a free at least like triple packed weapon there going from
it's
tier
free,
2 to tier 3. So it's nice. We've got equipment here, which is a purple. Your equipment slots refill over time. Last 5 minutes, very nice there, especially if you're using some OP things. We've got Power Vacuum, your favorite. This time it lasts 5 minutes. I think before it was like every round.
I think it was 3 rounds.
It was 4 rounds in BO3, and BO4 I think it might have been 1 round. Now it's 5 minutes, but that's actually a pretty solid 5 minutes because you can get through 5 rounds in 5 minutes on this game, especially if you're on the lower rounds. So Power Vacuum, very nice there. It's a purple. You're going to be getting a lot of those too, which is super, super dope. Fun one to have at purple rarity. We've got a new one called Round Off. This activates on the round transition, and rounds prevented from advancing for 2 rounds. Kind of a little bit weird there. I'm not sure I don't completely understand this one. I don't know. Maybe you basically get like, let's say you pop this at round 12, it kicks in for round 13, and you get 2 waves at 13. So
but it's
again,
still
that's
gonna
a
be
way
13. Okay.
It seems like they've added some quality of life changes, and now a Gobblegum that are for the Easter egg hunters out there.
That's going to be good for eggs.
Keep
absolutely.
People on lower rounds while giving you more points, so that people don't end up on 38 and have to restart the Easter egg hunt. Like I kind of mess with that. That's definitely pretty nice there. Now we get in my opinion, absolutely broken legendary. Please do not get rid of this one. And a legendary rarity nonetheless. You're going to have 99 plus of this year if you don't spend them. Armageddon will give you a 3-plate armor vest and full plates. So you're going to be getting a free.
It should easily be an ultra.
Could be easily, yeah, absolutely, easily could be an ultra there. They said there were 2 ultra gums coming. The original leak was that there were 2 new ultras coming, and then they completely swapped out the. That wasn't even a leak. That was based on whatever the pre-order was. It said like, okay, you get like 2 of the new ultra gums. I guarantee you this was that second ultra gum, and they said, you know what? Let's just make it a legendary. Let's give let's give the players a nice little bone there. I don't know that for a fact, but that just seems like, hey, could be a nice little thing there, especially at legendary rarity. Obviously, it's not going to be as common as an aftertaste or a tactical diffusion or a cashback, but I got a lot of support groups that I didn't use this year that are now 99 plus of, so I'm assuming Armageddon is going to be one of those highly valued legendaries. And of course, the one you mentioned earlier, gift card, will give you 30,000 essence upon activation, a new ultra. Banger ultra, like timeout ended up being good for things like cranked and stuff, but like, dude, this is one of like hidden power, gift card are 2 new ultras.
That's S tier gum.
S tier gum immediately. Doesn't even need to be out. Don't even need to boot up and play with this shit. This is like, you got the whole map open on round 1. This is a reworked shopping free, which I think is smarter because it's not as broken as 60 seconds to run around the map, pick up triple pack a punch, all your perks, and legendary rarity. That was too broken, but it's not as underwhelming as 3 purchases. It's something I would have
shopping free is not going to be good on this map.
Exactly,
it's not going to be good. It's too big.
Exactly. Great Gobblegum right there. We've kind of pissed on them a little bit for the Gobblegum selection they've added in this year. It hasn't exactly been pretty, and we've been very negative with some of the Gobblegums they've added in throughout the life of the podcast the past 2-3 months. But this is a whole fucking grand slam lineup of Gobblegums coming in here at launch. These are perfect. These are amazing. These are going to be really broken in the survival maps, by the way, but also very, very useful for a map like Ashes of the Damned.
Absolutely. Gobblegums look great. All hits, in my opinion. A round off will be interesting enough to play with it, but everything is a hit here.
Round off is definitely niche.
Balanced all the way around too. Balanced with the rarity. So cool. So A+ grade for me on the new gums.
100%. Again, we'll hit on it here really quickly. You can recycle your gums for fun and profit. Essentially, you can just apparently crush your gums, right? And the higher tier rarity gum, the more salvage or essence that you'll get from these gums. We have the Rampage Inducer returning. We all know about that. Nothing too much crazy there. We have, of course, wall buys again. There's a lot of information on the wall buys I detailed in the blog post, as well as the armor. I'm not really going to go over the wall buys here, but with the armor situation, I'm assuming once you buy armor, it becomes like a universal wall buy. So if you pick up armor level 2, you're good to go. Like you're solid. So here it says armor wall buys have been combined, allowing you to purchase level 2 and 3 from the same armor wall buy. What I really like about this is you don't have to like run across the map on a map like Ashes of the Damned from, if you're at the Ascension POI, you don't have to jump all the way back to spawn or take the Tessie all the way back to spawn to try to get where blue rarity is. Exactly. It's just basically once you pick up blue rarity, all of them upgrade to legendary, which is fantastic there. We've also got ourselves a redesign for the ammo caches. It's like this big golden Dead Ops Arcade looking ammo cache that's yellow on the outside with some wood and Mr. Peak sitting there. Fantastic way of doing it. Again, ammo caches just seemed like it was very big, like, even though it wasn't exactly Warzone, because they didn't look anything like the Warzone ammo caches. It's just making it more zombified, which is perfect. Again, if you're gonna have those, make it look like it does here. I think it looks perfectly amazing to me. It says ammo cache prices are specific. These are just the same things that we know from last year. The mystery box, for the first time in the modern era, has a complete redesign. We're now getting the Origins mystery box here. It'll be interesting to see if we have this throughout the DLC season or if this is just on this map. My guess is it'll probably be a mystery box kind of. I don't think it'll be roulette. I think we're stuck with the Origins mystery box all year, which is totally fine with me. It looks super dope in this redesign. I posted this picture right as soon as this blog post went live, and people were like, oh, is this customs or is this confirmed? And it's like, yeah, dude, just confirmed. So a lot of people are either like, oh, nostalgia bait, but a lot of people are like, hell yeah, we haven't seen this in forever. It looks really good here. So cool there. A lot of changes for the mystery box. We're not going to touch on these. You can either just go for the video I had yesterday or the blog post itself. Crafting table and equipment, pretty much the same as last year. I want to note this picture of the crafting table. What's on it right now is actually the Pack-a-Punch turbine that you put onto Tessie, and that's how you get Pack-a-Punch on this map. It's not actually a physical Pack-a-Punch location on this map, Ashes of the Damned. That is the regular Pack-a-Punch on the survival maps, but on this map, you'll be building it and putting it on the back of Tessie. So unbelievably intuitive mechanic there that I wouldn't have thought of for this map. That's just super sick. We're like, okay, instead of having to run all the way across the map for Pack-a-Punch, all you got to do is just make sure you have Tessie with you, and you can just hit the back of it, and you've got yourself Pack-a-Punch. Everything else here with the new score streak, we have the Disciple injection, which is super sick. Another kind of a reskin. We've been asking for this all year, where it's like, hey, where's the Amalgam injections? Where's the Disciple injections? Where's the Abomination injections? All that good stuff. So super cool. Glad that they did that. Arsenal Station is back. Here is where it's talking about the different rarity tiers. So 1,000 salvage for green rarity, up from 500. 1,500 salvage for blue rarity, up from 1,000. Epic has now been reduced to 2,000. So again, that's kind of like almost making up the difference a little bit there between blue and purple rarity. And then legendary is still 5,000. So again, dead drop, if you've got 99 of them, if you didn't use very many this year, probably going to be a lot better next year. Hopefully you saved those up. Returning damage modifier for the elemental weaknesses. That's awesome. Different enemies are going to be weak to different things. Pack-a-Punch machine. Here is the Pack 1 camo. Again, it's detailing where you have to run up and press the back of Tessie in order to upgrade it. We have TED tasks here. Not only will TED be a part of the Tessie vehicle, and that's the first way to upgrade it, but now Sam trials, obviously there's no more Sam because it doesn't exist anymore. We've got TED trials and TED totem poles around the map. Super sick. What do you think about this?
That's sick. Those are so cool. They just, like I said, not to pat ourselves on the back, but maybe noticing, maybe people have been watching, maybe Treyarch's been tuning into Perkaholics Anonymous. And if so, we appreciate them. The ammo caches look amazing. The mystery box looks cool. You're going to have staples returning, arsenal and crafting table, TED tasks. Fits the map, looks good. Pack 1 camo looks cool. Pack-a-Punch machine on the vehicle. Oh man, I can't wait to see if the vehicle blows up. Vehicle blows up and I can't pack, and I'm on pack 2 and I need pack 3. Oh my god. The rage might be in, but I mean, they didn't miss. Everything you just said, they didn't miss. New injection, not just getting the manglers back. Perfect.
Exactly, dude. Exactly. They just they're building upon the base is what I wanted to see. New things while building upon what they had previously without drip feeding us new content. Lastly, we have the new exfil. A lot of people's big concern was, how is there going to be a chopper in the Dark Ether? How are they going to get Raptor 1 in the Dark Ether with, that whole gameplay mechanic? Well, they thought of that. Raptor 1 no longer available. Don't know where he's at. Well, it's actually here. His fate is currently unknown. So imagine if, like, at the end of this game, basically you get pulled out by whatever side was canon. That'll be pretty sick to see, maybe down the line. But the new exfil is actually going to be an exfil phone booth. If you look carefully, this is the phone booth from D Machine's intro, where Sam went in and called Weaver originally when the first outbreak started. Yeah, super sick, dude. And they got like the teleporter at the top of it, so it's almost like a Kino teleporter hybrid with the phone. So I'm assuming that like the exfil isn't going to be the same, where like it's a lockdown sequence, but some new way to exfil. It's the phone booth. You get inside of it, and then I'm sure to like shoot off or teleport into a wormhole, and you'll exfil from the map. Again, really cool there. Just attention to detail. Again, like I said with the Ravages earlier, going from source material. Super sick that they didn't just stick a chopper in this, or like a portal opens up and that's how you exfil out. It's this whole new designed thing. So it's just super cool that you get something like that. I mean, especially with the attention to detail there. The last thing we have here is Dead Ops. Honestly, if you want to take over Dead Ops, I know that's you're more of a mode here. So if you want to just run down some of the different things here in the blog post, I'll let you cover Dead Ops to end this blog post, and then we'll go over the augments and then quick community corner and be done.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's see what's really relevant here. Born as a secret, Easter egg in Black Ops, Dead Ops Arcade evolved into chaotic, self-aware twin stick saga. Okay. Dead Ops Arcade saga escalates as Papa-Back joins the Silverback clan's vendetta, battling players who've stolen the family's gun-wielding chicken and ally Fidolin in an over-the-top arcade war of revenge. Battle through 80 levels across 20-plus arenas, Silverback challenges, new Slayer maps, face Papa-Back in chaotic battles, uncover bonus rooms, and stock up at Slayer Mart for goodies and greater chance of survival. Arm up with 9+ upgradable weapons, including the Wonderfizz DG2 and Jet Gun. Okay, that's pretty sick. While battling zombies as well as a variety of bosses, including Z-Rex, Zersa, Golem, and Mega Abomination. Wait, Z-Rex in Dead Ops. Yep. Oh my gosh. Control 3 devastating vehicles and collect 25+ classic and new DOA pickups. Dead Ops Arcade 4 expands with round-based mechanics, ammo mods, field upgrades, Gobblegums alongside twin stick and first-person mode options. Player-level progression links across campaign, multiplayer zombies, DOA 4, and Call of Duty Warzone for unified leveling. I mean, all the way down to the side mode of the side mode of the side mode. Locked in.
This is going to be the best Dead Ops Arcade of all time by far. Like, not even close, dude. The amount of detail has gone into this, man. Crazy, dude.
This is crazy.
So it says
Oh
here
my
too that they've
gosh.
got casual, which is for basically a more forgiving DevOps experience, standard, hardcore, which is coming post-launch, and then standard advanced start. So begin your next standard solo game at the highest round you previously achieved. Stats, challenges, and leaderboards are not available. So very, very interesting, dude. It seems, again, I really think this is going to be the best DevOps of all time. It seems like this is more fleshed out than we've ever gotten anything from before from DevOps. Obviously, you get like the universal XP, so it's not like in years past in Black Ops 1, 2, or Black Ops 1, 3, and then in Cold. I don't think it was like this in Cold War, but there was no like weapon leveling, or maybe not weapon leveling, but there was no XP gain. So it was like, why would I spend 8 hours doing DevOps when I could go grind something else and get my XP up or get my challenges up? Here's your answer. Now you can level up your prestige in Dead. Like, so sick, dude. Worth playing, worth having some fun with. Not just a complete little side mode for fun. Obviously, you see the screenshots here, the Wonderwaffe in first person. So sick that you can flip between those. There we go. We have the progression confirmed for sure. That is it for the main blog post. I mean, we spent a shit ton of time. We're already an hour and 23 minutes in. It could have been a lot longer than that. We could have gone down in the nitty gritty of every single blog post, every single paragraph here, and really dissected it. They end off here that it's going to be part of the early access beta. So early access, if you pre-ordered the game, October 2nd through 5th, which is next Thursday through Sunday. I'm assuming that'll actually end on the 6th, if I had to guess. Actually, no, sorry. Okay. Here we go. October 2nd through 5th, so next Thursday through Sunday, it'll be the closed early access beta for people that pre-ordered. And then from the 5th, so that's Sunday, to the 8th, to the Wednesday, it'll be open beta. So people are, I'm not pre-ordering the gamers. Don't pre-order. Well, now you can experience the beta, not only multiplayer, but zombie survival for Black Ops 7 for free from next Sunday, not this coming Sunday, but next Sunday through the following Wednesday. So huge days, guys. Quick little personal update here. I'm getting fiber internet on that October 1st, so the streams are about to go absolutely insane for this beta. Just moving forward, like, we're going to be major update there. I'm also nerding out about that, but all right, holy shit. We've got a little bit more here with the augments. We're not going to go through everything here. This is really just going to be a quick touch on things. They've completely broken down all of the new and returning augments for things that are back in the game here. So we're just going to cover all of the new augments for every single perk, field upgrade, and ammo mod coming. I'll go through the perks if you want to do the ammo mods, and then, if we want to stop anywhere and talk, like, we'll just flip back and forth here. So for the perks, Juggernog, actually probiotic has now got a buff, so it's increasing your max health from 250 to 300. I'm a probiotic main. I think Turtle Shell is actually way better too, but I mean, dude, now they're upping some of the augments again. We're not going to go through this and go through every single augment and the updates and whatnot. If you really want to check this out, link in the description below. You guys can go and read this for yourself. But we've got new for Juggernog. The major augment is Iron Core. Your health is increased when all of your armor plates are broken, so that's pretty sick. It's almost like that overdrive mechanic. We've got the minor augment being Shake It Off. Incoming damage will occasionally be significantly reduced. A little RNG there. For PhD Flopper, we have Double Whammy. Release a second explosion shortly after the first one. We've also got a minor augment Stuntman, which is wall jumping creates an explosion. So there is wall jumping in Black Ops 7 zombies. There'll be different areas that you can go to. So imagine like bouncing off the wall. Zombies are hitting you while you're trying to jump over like a dangerous area. It explodes. Super cool there. Elemental Pop. Rainbow Pop, weapons with an ammo mod equipped have a chance to deal the elemental damage that an enemy is weak to. So that's actually really, really good for elite enemies. We've also got minor augment Refresh Mint. I feel like that was actually an elixir in Black Ops 4. It was like basically like a refresher. You get your equipment back, but this is killing a special or elite enemy with its elemental weakness resets your elemental pop cooldown. So again, really good here if you're using something like fireworks. Could be fun to use. Melee Macchiato, Mocha Mall. This one is the punch is replaced with your dedicated melee weapon, so stronger melee there. We've got new Barista Brawl, gain more essence from melee kills, so that's actually really sick. That's almost merging like that classic system there of like, hey, melee gives you an increased amount of point upgrade there. You get more points for melees, just like how the OG system was. Voltrade, this one I think a lot of people are going to be excited about. Armormatic is picking up an armor plate, automatically applies it to your vest. So this is essentially the Cold War mechanic where if you just run over armor, it completely replates for you. So there's none of this if you have a problem with actually physically plating up. This is just a way to kind of avoid that. With extra serving, special and elite enemies you kill have a chance to drop a large essence vial, so that's cool. Could be fun. For Double Tap, our new major augment is Double Dealer. Every fourth bullet in your weapon magazine deals double damage. That's pretty decent right there. I'm not going to lie. I don't know if that'll move me away from the other two, but cool. Double Down is the minor augment. Bullet weapons have increased penetration damage through enemies. For quick revive, our new major is Adrenaline Rush. Killing a special or elite enemy will start your health regeneration. Minor augment emergency medical kit. You can now craft a self revive up to 4 times. So that's actually going to be really interesting for people that are going for 999 or high rounders. Yep. Super nice there that you do get that increase. For dead shot, we have dead to rights. Bullets deal damage, bonus damage to enemies within point blank range. We have minor augment dead heat. Temporarily increases your movement speed after getting a point blank kill. Death perception, Sixth Sense is the major augment. See enemies close behind you and take less damage from behind. So that's almost like a shield upgrade right there. That's pretty sick. We get the minor augment hidden gems. Death perception can now see loot. Awesome. Stamina up, major augment guns up, fire while sprinting. Minor augment footwork, increase non-forward sprinting speed. Speed Cola is our last perk here. New major augment ammo surge. Gain a burst of speed when initiating a reload. That almost sounds like overdrive for multiplayer. And then the minor mechanic or minor augment is going to be reloading has a chance to not use stock ammo. So a lot to digest there, guys. Really cool. Honestly, like I said, if you really want to go into detail here and figure out what's been buffed, what's been changed, go ahead and read the blog post for yourself. Link in the description below. But now we're moving on to the ammo mods.
Yes, sir. Ammo mods. Okay, we already went over the new one. Fireworks, returning. Looks good. Brought back in its old glory. Okay, let's move on here. Brain Rot. New for Brain Rot. Major augment. Caustic fumes. Charmed enemies deal toxic damage to nearby enemies. And then the minor is Super Serum. Increase the damage dealt by charmed enemies. Okay. Napalm Burst, new Petroleum. Napalm Burst leaves a pool of fire on the ground. Okay. Backdraft for the minor augment. Increase the activation radius. Okay. Seems pretty useful. Shadow Rift, new major Gravity Well. Shadow Rift becomes a black hole that pulls in enemies before teleporting away nearby enemy survivors. And then the minor is Ammo Theorem. Teleporting enemies away adds ammo to your weapon magazine from stock. Moving along to Deadwire, new major augment Ball Lightning. Activating Deadwire launches an orb that deals electric damage to nearby enemies as it moves. And then Aftershock for the minor augment. Enemies that are stunned by Deadwire have a chance to spread to nearby enemies. Okay, I like the sound of that. Definitely will probably be running that. Cryo Freeze, new major Cold Company. Cryo Freeze has a chance to activate on more than one enemy at a time. And then Thermal Shock for the new minor. Enemies are damaged once they're unfrozen. Okay, a lot of stuff to look through. A lot of testing to do, and a lot of strategizing and pros and cons and trade-offs here with these new augments and the stuff that they're adding for sure.
100%. We've got our last few field upgrades here now. We've got Toxic Growth. We went over that earlier, so we're not going to cover that here. Dark Flare, when returning from Black Ops 6, the major augment is Muzzle Blast. The beam now deals additional damage in a cone in front of you. And then we have Dusk Flame. Enemies that are hit by the beam are dealt additional shadow damage over time. Healing Aura. We've got Healing Aura can now revive dead allies. I talked about that one in the video from yesterday. That's pretty cool.
That's nice.
Especially on a big map like this. And then we've got Cornucopia for the minor, which is affected players get a health overcharge. So that's pretty cool. So instead of having, like, let's say you got Juggernaut for 300 health, it seems like you might get 400 for the time that you activate that. Frenzied Guard, Fists of Frenzy. While frenzied, annihilate enemies with your fists. Pretty cool. Dual layer, while Frenzied Guard is active, armor durability is increased. We've got Energy Mine. We have Smart Mine, which Energy Mine has more detonations and waits for multiple teammates to be in range for each detonation. Minor Augment Recycle. A deployed Energy Mine can be recycled for field upgrade charge. Lastly, Ether Shroud. After image, distract enemies with a dark ether clone of yourself. That one, I mean, that might be the move for solo, I'm not going to lie. And then minor augments, we have Impulse, deal shadow damage to enemies on activation and increase your movement speed during Ether Shroud. So again, a great way to kind of maybe even do speedrunning, testing and stuff there. Outside of that, guys, that is really it. It goes into the Gobblegum breakdown again. We've already done that from the previous blog post. It just seems like we kind of reiterate what's going on here or there. But I mean, that is all of the information on the blog post. We spent an hour and a half just breaking down what they've given us here, and we didn't even go into like deep dive detail. Like, we could have gone through all the different augment updates. We could have gone through all of the different things here.
This could have been a 4-hour show.
This could have been a 4-hour show easily, but you know, for the sake of time, for the sake of you guys probably already having some of this information given to you throughout yesterday, as well as probably reading the blog post for some of you guys, like we're just going over our thoughts here. This isn't supposed to be like a full in-depth 4 or 5 hour breakdown. Overall, I mean, before we get into the community corner, dude, like, what are your thoughts on the changes? Just after going through all the mechanical updates, this is really more of like a giant, here's all the changes made from last year kind of blog post for both of these, more so than it is, here's what's coming in the new map.
Yeah, I mean, you're definitely right. It's, I think the augments are, I think a lot of the augments stuff that we've been using in Black Ops 6, I don't see a lot of people changing from that. Just, maybe testing new stuff out here and there, but just from what going through and reading all the new majors and minors, I don't know if a lot of them really turn my head to be like, hey, I'm definitely going to switch over from what I've been running to this. Guess I could be proven wrong, but they're giving you, this is their transitional move from 6 to 7. We're like, hey, you grinded 6, we want to reward you for that. That's how I'm reading the augment system, and I'm okay with that.
100%. I'm in the same boat as you, dude. All right, I think we should get into the community corner now. We're going to keep this a little bit shorter than we normally would. Just give some initial reactions here. Again, like we put out a tweet earlier, which is what we might be doing for like community corner sections moving forward, because it got a lot of replies. Unfortunately, again, for the sake of time and in this video, we can't do a full reply here. However, if I'm being honest with you, I think that maybe we should do another episode here very shortly, maybe after the beta or something, where we just do a live stream and kind of like get everyone's like personal opinions and thoughts about what's going to happen for the mode, how people are feeling, because there were a lot of like, it's mostly positive, but
we want to talk to everybody though. We want to hear everybody.
Absolutely. So first up here, we've got Pinocchio coming in with a GIF that just says it's peak. Honestly, couldn't agree more. That's how I was feeling as soon as I saw this stuff. So great use of the GIF there. I'm a huge GIF user over on Twitter, so really nice that got a fellow GIF user here to kind of just explain the feelings. Next up, we've got Zone X coming in with game looks absolutely insane, but they've given us way too much. Feels like we know everything now, hoping there's much more to discover, but they certainly blew the load today. The blew the load joke is a reference to a Paul Pierce clip when he was working for ESPN, where he was like, I'm tired of just getting a taste of him. I want the whole load. And we were messing around with that last week. But I see what you're saying here. They did give us a ton, but in my opinion, the more that I read through the blog post and see stuff, like it's more so like they really just gave us a lot of mechanical updates. Like, yeah, they didn't really tell us much about Cursed. We did get a lot about, especially more POIs than we even knew about behind the scenes for the big new Ashes of the Damned map. But overall, it just seems like it was mostly like hey, we've heard the complaints about this just being Black Ops 6 2 or Black Ops 6 DLC. Like, here's why it's not. You know, that seems like what today was for these blog posts.
No, I absolutely agree with you. And like I said earlier at the top of the show, you know, get 25% of Terminus is going to look a lot different than 25% of this map.
Right.
25% of Liberty Falls. Everything is, you know, proportionally accurate here. And they have to go over this stuff like, hey, when you have carry forward and you have mechanics that are transferring from game A to game B, they have to go into this level of depth to some extent. And the changes and the stuff that they showed off, I think are important to highlight, but they're not, you know, game changing or like, oh, okay, would it have been cool to load up in like the SAM trials or TED tasks now? Sure, that might have been like a cool, like, oh, you know, reveal moment, but is it really taking away that much from the gameplay and that much of the new game for them putting that in the blog post? I personally don't think so.
I agree, especially when they had people questioning like there were multiple questions last week that I saw on Twitter that got a bunch of traction. That was like, again, how is exfilling going to work? And they show off the exfil mechanic. They don't really talk too much about it, but I mean, they show you that screenshot there. They probably wouldn't have done that otherwise unless people hadn't made a big deal about like, there's no Raptor 1, how are we exfilling? It better not just be a chopper, right? So they're like, okay, we're going to, you know, you asked for it. Same thing with, what was I just gonna say? The other point too. Like, again, it's just like
they're
things
justifying.
They're justifying it. Exactly.
It's fine.
Exactly. Our next comment here is from It's Invalid. My guy says BO7 looks like the devs got their spark and freedom back in terms of development. The atmosphere in Ashes looks incredible / unique, and not one quality of life change is bad. Overall, it looks like there'll be a ton of content, but they definitely revealed too much. Again, we just kind of touched on that with Zone's comment. I agree with you 100%. They got their spark back. The first thing I was like, dude, the leash is off. They finally are like, they've got broken away from the stigma of Black Ops 4 zombies, where they got a huge budget. They went all in and it kind of flopped in the community's eyes. I mean, granted, whatever you want to think about the game nowadays, it is what it is. But, you know, Cold War is the big reset where it's really not much. This year's facility, smaller, underwhelming maps, not really any big map. I mean, I think it was a major upgrade from Cold War, but again, we got drip fed a lot of content. This next year seems like they've kind of got the leash is off. They've convinced Activision to give them the budget and do whatever they want to do again and have these fun, wacky stories in the dark ether versus this realistic campaign mission style of Easter eggs and maps we've gotten before. Again, when we're talking about them revealing too much, I definitely agree again that some things they could have left, like you said, with the TED trials. But again, that was something where Sam doesn't exist anymore. So how are those going to be handled? That's stuff that those were genuine concerns on the, timeline last week and this week. And had they not addressed that up until launch, it would have been well, dude, there better not, exfils better not be shot. And so they almost kind of came out and squashed a lot of the issues and beef that the community had over the last 2 weeks. So again, I've been saying this all year. I don't want them to reveal too much. I think that they revealed just enough about the map to where you kind of get a general hey, this is why you should buy. It's almost if they didn't reveal what they revealed today, especially for Ashes of the Damned, the community would have been oh, it's going to be shitty. It's going to be terrible. They're not showing off any of the maps. So, how do we know it's going to be good? How do they even, you know what I mean? So it's they're kind of in a lose-lose situation there where if they show off too much, people are going to be well, now we know too much about the map. But if they show off too little, then it's oh, well, it must not be finished or it must be Warzone zombies if they're not willing to show off this much about the map. So I think as the DLC season will go on, it'll be like last year where you see less and less each DLC, because from Citadel they heard the criticism, and the Tomb we didn't really get much, so we got less from Citadel, and then Shattered Veil and Reckoning we got even less. Reckoning we've barely got any gameplay information about the Reckoning compared to Terminus or the launch maps. They're trying to sell a whole new game here and move the stigma away from, hey, this is just Black Ops 6 DLC, right? This is going to be its whole own experience. So I think that's why they're kind of showing off a little bit more than most people would like with these blog posts. But if this continues throughout the year, then it's again, why are we doing too much? But I think that all in all encompassing, today was the right move for the decisions that they made. And that's not me being a shill or trying to defend them for their choices. It's more so just that's what I would have done based on the community reaction over the last month or two about the state of the game.
No, I totally agree with you. And they're in like you said, lose-lose situation. If they don't explain enough, people complain. There's not enough transparency. There's not enough info being released. Where are the blog posts? Where are the updates? Where are the tweets? They put all this stuff out today. Oh, it's too much. But it's it's the marketing launch and lead up to this game. It's not like this is a in-between season thing where they're just releasing the whole thing and it's Reckoning doesn't explain enough. Well, okay, now they're over-explaining. So
right.
We got to just pump the brakes. It's fine. It's not, they didn't tell you, oh, we're going and fighting the boss fight, enemy X, and you have to do a step this and that. A little bit overblown in my opinion.
All right, you want to finish off with Rav?
Yeah, shout out to Rav. He says amazing changes, innovations, and a lot of them seem to stem directly off community feedback. Curse looks great. Hopefully there's some really hard to get cosmetic rewards from it, like HUD styles. Hope they could keep up this momentum all year. Totally agree. Seeing unique one-off items where it's oh, my buddy has this because of Cursed would be sick. Yep. Oh, you have this cosmetic because you decided that you were going to do this and it wasn't going to be easy at all and you're a 1%er, literal 1%er. I'm in for that. Hope they keep the momentum all year. That's relevant. That's prevalent. That makes sense. A lot of people are going to voice that complaint. I think that's a lot more valid of a complaint than they shared too much information today. It feels like the launches of games in Black Ops 6, was maybe a part of that vein as well. Steam off the top end, get to Citadel. After Citadel, there's a percentage of the community that thinks it was downhill from there. So can you keep this up all year? It's the question for every cyclical game that we've ever seen in our lives, more or less specifically Call of Duty. So I've said it multiple times. I'll continue to say it. You have to keep following this stuff up. We're going to be grateful. We're going to be happy. We're going to be excited right now. No one's taking that for granted. No one's taking advantage of that. But Rab makes a good point. Can they keep this going for 4 more seasons, basically, after this one, if not more?
And one thing is back in the day with BO2, BO1, BO2, BO3, even BO4 to some degree, there was down periods in content. I was saying that all this year, right? The idea now is how do we eliminate those down periods? Black Ops 6 started out pretty well. We did get grief in a season, but especially here towards the end, you can tell that they've kind of petered off and been like, we need to shift attention to Black Ops 7 rather than try and stick with BO6 when realistically not a lot of this is going to matter outside of like your augment research and stuff moving forward. But yeah, I guess like the two real complaints or concerns that I think are completely valid moving forward after today going into Black Ops 7 would be, can they keep the momentum all year? You know, we're hearing rumors, we're hearing notions and rumors about, you know, weekly challenge events that'll reward guns throughout. You know, you have the guns in the battle pass, but then throughout the season you also have a couple of weapons thrown in through challenges and reactive camos and basically like better than MW3 rewards all throughout the year. Like if that's the case, then I don't think we have to worry about can we keep the momentum up all year, because the maps we know are going to be there, right? Like we know there's going to be 6 maps plus all the survival maps. I think they've got that squared away. It's really like the in-between mini content like weapons, camos, all that stuff. Is that going to be there, right? That's, you know, right now it's rumored, but it's looking good, so I understand that. The second one I would definitely say is the narrative too. You know, like BO6 was not a great narrative game. Like, I don't think it's a secret. Everyone kind of has that same complaint. I don't think there's one person that would be like, no, the story was like peak tier. Like I won't defend that, right? The writing was not in the best spot last year. That's the other concern where like I could see them, you know, is this going to feel exactly like last year where there's minimal character quotes? And again, part of that could have been the VA's voice striking. Like, take that out of consideration. Is the narrative going to be good, and can they keep up weekly content that's going to keep people in the game all year with no downtime? I think those are the only two things that need to be addressed at this point moving forward. Other than that, like, I'm looking at a game that's like, all right, I liked Black Ops 6. You guys know how I feel about that. You know how Jeff and I feel about Black Ops 6. I think it's one of the best zombies games of all time, just from a pure like content and, you know, gameplay perspective. It seems like they've really, again, taken another step to refine these mechanics, make things harder, find a balance between hardcore and casual. Like it just like, it seems like it's the best of both worlds in the game they really wanted to make. So for me, like, I'm on the hype train. I'm even more excited than I was last year at this time, because like last year it was like, man, we haven't had zombies in 4 years. What's this gonna be like? Now we just got a fucking taste of this shit with BO6. Like the BO7 is gonna be like the fucking whole load. So I'm dude, I'm so excited, man. I cannot wait for the beta now, especially getting to get my hands on some survival. Like, I know we're gonna be in a multiplayer this year too for the camo grind. It just multiplayer looks better than it was this year, but I don't know how I'm gonna be able to step away from zombies at all during this beta. You know, I know it's just going to be survival, but like, dude, maybe I want to go to around 100, you know? Well, maybe I want to get that Mark II out of the box. Maybe I want to, you know, really experience zombies or level up my weapons there and see what the weapons can do and get like a head start on like what guns are going to be like in the fall. Like, dude, it just blown away from today's reveal. More than I expected, better than I expected, and I had high expectations.
I'm totally there with you. Yeah, it's going to be tough to not play the zombies part of this beta. I totally agree with you. Look around the map, see if there's anything we could find, anything early, any teasers, any hints, any Easter eggs, anything like that. So, not saying there will be, but definitely might be. All right, MZC, Perkaholics Anonymous Podcast, episode 16, coming to a close here. Anything else from you before we sign off?
Thank you guys again for 150K, man. Looks really good. Appreciate it. You guys hold me down. You guys give us the platform to not only grow and, you know, be part of creator calls, stuff like that. But dude, yeah, I wouldn't be here without any of you guys. And again, just from Perkaholics Anonymous perspective, we started this with the idea that I don't care if we get 5 views, 10 views, 15 views, 150 views. Like, we're just here having a good time talking about things to see how the podcast is scaled alongside the channel and become one of our staple weekly content. Is just it's been amazing. It's been a super fun ride. I couldn't be more excited about the future of the channel and Black Ops 7.
It's been a great week. It's been a great couple of weeks over here with MZC and Perkaholics Anonymous Podcast. Last thing here, guys, before we sign off, I need you guys to not only hit that like button, make sure you're going to the comments below. Grade what Treyarch gave us today. F through A, 0 through 10. We want to hear, and we'll know who's been who watches all the way through to the end, the true loyals of PAP, following all the way along right to the last very second. If we see your grade, if we see your number down below, we appreciate every single one of you guys for tuning in, interacting with the channel, making sure that we get the community corner up and going, and suggesting guests. I know you guys always do a good job of that down below. We're working on it. Trust. We're working on it.
We got a plan.
We got a plan. We'll let you guys know, and we'll keep you guys updated. But With that all being said, make sure you're staying hydrated out here. Flamethrowers of information coming down. Treyarch absolutely on fire, cooking with gas. And with that all being said, we'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.